Welcome to CEO Money. I'm Michael Yorba, your host. My guest today is Bob Fitts, founder and producer of SUP-X, the StartUp Expo, and SUP-X Radio. Bob, welcome to the show.
Michael, thanks for having me.
All right, provide me with some background on you, what SUP-X is, demographics, who's going to be there, what you're going to cover, and then we'll move forward from there.
Well, my background is really, I'm a chief operating officer for some mid-market businesses, and I did a lot of M&A work, and I'm an operations guy. But when I moved to Florida a number of years ago, I got involved in angel and VC in the early stage communities and ended up creating a large event for a nonprofit I was running, and that is now called SUP-X, the StartUp Expo. It's the largest early stage conference in the state of Florida. We attract about 1,000 to 1,500 people from a couple of dozen states and a half dozen countries each year.
How many people are going to be there? 1,000, 1,500? Is that what you said?
1,000 to 1,500. It's a one-day event. It's on Thursday, July 26th. It's at the Convention Center in Fort Lauderdale, Florida. We have an amazing range of content. We start off with a 3-hour forum called #WomenForWomen. It's a forum devoted to female founders, entrepreneurs, investors, business leaders, and technologists. And after that, we have panels on social innovation, healthcare innovation, cryptocurrencies and blockchain, cannabis panel that's presented by High Times Magazine. And then our last big event of the day is the finals of our startup competition.
At the event, are people actually shaking hands with investors, potential investors, or are they just creating further contacts so that they can follow up at a different time and space?
So the whole point is to bring together investors, entrepreneurs, and service providers really for the betterment of all three of those communities. And we do that. We have content designed for all of them. We have networking. We have a huge exhibit hall, and everything happens in the exhibit hall. The exhibit hall booths, the food court, the main stage, everything's there. So there's all these collision points throughout the day where people meet people. And typically about 15 to 20% of our audience are accredited investors.
Okay. All right. What else did you want to tell us about that, or future thoughts for what's happening with SUP-X?
It's just a great gathering of the Southeast and early stage community, and particularly Florida's early stage community. We'll have 100 exhibitors there, and 35 of those are startups that are actually competing in our startup competition, and they get a booth as part of that. The final event, as I said, is the finals of the startup competition. So we'll have 5 of these startups that are tapped that morning and told they're pitching that afternoon, and they get on stage and pitch before a panel of investors. And the winner it's a winner-take-all contest. They'll get $25,000 in cash and prizes.
All right. On that note, have you had? Give us some statistics on the success rate that you've had as you've been putting on the SUP-X Expo.
Well, the event's grown each year. I mean, the first year that we did it under its predecessor name, when I created it for the nonprofit I ran, we had 350 people 5 years ago, and now we're up to about 1,500. So we've grown dramatically. And in terms of the startups that compete, we don't track it because we're a small team ourselves. But one anecdote is, our winner last year won the competition, got $25,000, and subsequently raised $1.3 or $1.4 million. And a majority of the investors that came in on that round were investors that were either judges of our startup competition or she met via our event. So it's a great experience for startups if they're in the startup competition. But it's not just about raising money. Startups often think it is. Having that booth and meeting people and making connections and developing relationship capital is worth as much as someone's 1 in 35 chance of winning $25,000 in the pitch competition, for instance.
That's what I wanted to know. Who's going to be speaking at this year's SUP-X?
We have a variety of speakers. We'll have 30 or 40 speakers throughout the panels. Marcia Dawood, who's the chairman of the Angel Capital Association's membership committee, is one of ours. Samira Stammen, who's a deal maker and advisor out of Houston, is our keynote for our women's forum. Alex Brown, who was the co-founder of Dollar Beard Club, is our keynote speaker. We have, 30 or 40 other speakers that'll be there as well from all over the country. We try hard to get speakers from outside of the state to come because it further enriches our ecosystem here.
I'll do my best to get out there. Thanks for being on the show, Bob.
Thank you, Michael. We'd love to see you there.
You've been watching CEO Money with Michael Yorba. Thanks for joining. We'll be right back with more content just for you.